Hello guys, welcome back to my channel and enjoy this fanfic part 2. Now let's start the fanfic. Hiruzen Sarutobi had been through many things in his life. He was a veteran of 3 shinobi world wars, fought with the Kyuubi, guided his village's Hokage, passed on the will of fire to the future generations, but not in his entire life he had heard of the Kyuubi, the strongest Biju in the world, the beast who almost destroyed Konoha trying to talk with its Jinchuriki. The first Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, Mito Uzumaki, never mentioned of having any interaction with the nine-tailed fox. Nor did Mito's niece Kushina Uzumaki had any type of contact with the nine-tailed demon fox during her life. But here was Mito's great-grandnephew and Kushina's son telling him that the Kyuubi tried to talk to him and influence him. This boy is going to be the end of me someday, thought Hiruzen tiredly. So let me get this straight, the Kyuubi was telling you to kill Sakura and Sasuke? Asked Hiruzen sternly. Yup, that's about it. Besides that, Tem was a pain in the, said Naruto with slight annoyance in his voice. Naruto, you should have better control over your emotions. I taught you better, said Kakashi disappointingly. I'm sorry Nii-san, I don't know how I lost control. But I'll try harder, said Naruto dejectedly. He never liked to disappoint Kakashi and was feeling guilty as he let his brother down. That just means you have to practice more and control your emotions. You can do this, Naruto, I have faith in you, said Kakashi reassuringly. Kakashi knew it was never easy when the strongest Biju in the world was trying to control you, and honestly he couldn't blame Naruto for losing control. Hell, even he would not be able to keep the Biju at bay, but still he had to make sure Naruto understood the seriousness of the situation and was making sure of it. This is indeed troublesome. Naruto, from what you have told me I can assume that the Kyuubi reacts to your anger or your hatred for someone so far. This is a very serious matter, Naruto, and I agree with Kakashi. If you are to remain in control over the Kyuubi and stop his influence, then you need to control your emotions and strengthen your will, explained Hiruzen. How do I do that, Gigi? Asked Naruto confusedly. Naruto too wanted to be in control of himself and not in that of the stupid fox. The thought of being controlled by someone else was not at all acceptable to Naruto. I'll do whatever it takes. I won't let you control me, you stupid fox, thought Naruto with determination. Hiruzen and Kakashi saw the look in Naruto's eyes, which showed his determination, and were quite pleased and relieved that Naruto was not submitting to the Kyuubi's power. Alright Naruto, in order to control your emotions you must meditate more, said Hiruzen. I don't understand, Gigi. I am already meditating, why do I need to meditate more? Asked Naruto confusedly. Because you have not achieved complete control over your mind. By meditating more you will be able to know more about yourself, said Kakashi in an amused voice. Hey, what does that mean? Asked Naruto irritatingly. That's for you to find out. Try to look underneath the underneath, said Kakashi with a chuckle. Annoying older brothers, mumbled Naruto with a sigh. Did you say something? Asked Kakashi in his trademark voice. Oh, you're not getting me so easily, thought Naruto deviously. Huh? Asked Naruto in a too innocent voice. This got very different reactions from the 2 other occupants in the room. Hiruzen couldn't contain his laughter anymore, while Kakashi was shocked that Naruto had just played his own card against him again. I never thought that I would live to see this day, Kakashi. Somebody actually used your own attitude against you, said Hiruzen with a chuckle. I wonder what Guy would think about this, suggested Naruto deviously. No, please don't tell Guy about this, begged Kakashi and fell on his knees with fake anime tears dropping from his eyes. Only on one condition, said Naruto with a smirk. Anything, yelled Kakashi immediately. Is this really Kakashi? Thought Hiruzen with a sweat drop. You have to teach me Kenjutsu and Fuinjutsu. Also, you have to give me your new copy of Ika Ika, said Naruto with a smirk. What? Why do want to learn Kenjutsu and Fuinjutsu? Asked Kakashi and Hiruzen in unison, ignoring Naruto's demand for Ika Ika. As you know, my dream is to join the Anbu, and every Anbu member must learn Kenjutsu, and I want to learn it too. Byaku's if I start learning now, I would be able to master it in a few years, or at least be decent enough for Anbu standards. And as for Fuinjutsu, I find it to be interesting, explained Naruto. Well, I can teach you Kenjutsu. Besides, you have learned many ninjutsu, and your genjutsu illusions are impressive, and your taijutsu is good too. But I'm not much skilled in Fuinjutsu. Where did you learn about it? Asked Kakashi. Well, it was mentioned in the academy that the fourth was very skilled with Fuinjutsu. So I went to the library and read about Fuinjutsu, and I want to learn it, said Naruto. Naruto, while I agree with Kakashi in teaching you Kenjutsu, you must wait for some time before starting to learn Fuinjutsu, as it is a very complex and dangerous art. Its contents are still not discovered to the maximum, even I only have a certain amount of skill in it. The only person who is capable of teaching you Fuinjutsu is not in Konoha right now, explained Hiruzen. You mean Jiraiya, the legendary Sannin? Said Naruto. You know Jiraiya is a Fuinjutsu master? Asked Hiruzen with slight shock. Come on, Gigi, I learned something from the boring academy lectures. You should remember it better than me, as you designed that stupid academy syllabus. You are getting too old for this job, even Konohamaru would remember this, deadpanned Naruto. Hiruzen's eyebrows twitched a bit on hearing the remark but did not comment, while Kakashi snickered a bit but remained silent after seeing Hiruzen narrow his eyes at him. Alright, now go and meditate or do whatever you want, said Hiruzen irritatingly. See ya, Gramps. Ni-san, I asked for a book, didn't I? Said Naruto deviously. No, please, not my Ika Ika. I haven't even read it yet, whined Kakashi. I just remember I had seen a weirdo in a green suit a few days ago. I think I'll visit him, suggested Naruto with a smirk. Fine, but this is not over, said Kakashi angrily and handed Naruto the book. I never said it was, said Naruto with a smrik. Personally, I have no interest in your book, Ni-san, but it is quite amusing to harass you, thought Naruto deviously. I like you, brat. You are a true kitsune, said the Kyuubi with an evil chuckle. Can't you just leave me alone? Asked Naruto tiredly. Nope, said Kyuubi amusedly. Why'd I even ask? Thought Naruto. That's because you are stupid, said Kyuubi and roared with laughter which was full of malice. I'm out of here, said Naruto. Alright, I'll see you soon, Gigi, said Naruto and opened the door of the office to leave. Naruto, I just wanted to tell you that Konohamaru wanted to meet you, said Hiruzen. Alright, I'll spend some time with him after the academy tomorrow, said Naruto and left the office, leaving an amused Hiruzen and a whining Kakashi in the office. I wonder what that shrimp is up to, thought Naruto with a smile etching on his face. Flashback. A few months ago. It was a nice evening in Konoha. The sun was about to set. The streets were starting to light up, more and more people could be seen in the streets. The shinobi were patrolling the village while the civilians were doing their regular activities. All in all, it was a very peaceful regular day in the village hidden in the leaves. Naruto was returning to his home after completing his training in the Forest of Death. It was his routine of completing his training after the academy. He trained every day in nin, general and taijutsu, and was pretty much tired by the end of the day. This day was not an exception. Walking through the streets, he noticed some hateful glares directed towards him. I wonder when they will realize that I'm not that damn fox, thought Naruto with frustration. He was so engrossed in his thoughts that he did not notice a small blur approaching towards him. When Naruto realized there was someone heading towards him, it was too late as the person collided with him and they both fell on the ground with the person on top of Naruto. When Naruto got a look at the person, he noticed it was a 5 to 6-year-old boy. He wore a yellow t-shirt and brown shorts. He had spiky brown hair and black eyes, and the boy was looking at Naruto angrily. "Hey, watch where you're going!" yelled the kid. "Duh," says the person who crashed with me, thought Naruto sarcastically. "Kid, you alright?" asked Naruto formally. Even if the kid was an idiot, he had to make sure he was alright. "Do you know who I am?" said the kid proudly. "Should I care?" sighed Naruto. "What?" asked the kid in shock. "Why should I care who you are?" asked Naruto irritatingly. "I'm Konohamaru Sarutobi, honorable grandson of the 3rd Hokage and future Godime Hokage of Konoha," announced Konohamaru proudly, thinking Naruto would just bow before him like the others. "So?" asked a bemused Naruto, who was finding the entire situation quite funny. "What, but I'm the grandson," stuttered Konohamaru, but was stopped as Naruto got up and picked him up and stared at him. "I don't care if you are the grandson of the Hokage. Every person is known through their actions and beliefs and not by their ancestry, remember that. Also, the future Hokage wouldn't be so stupid to run into another person now, would he, Konohamaru?" asked Naruto sternly, but on the inside he was laughing his off on seeing the shocked expression on Konohamaru's face. Konohamaru could only nod dumbly as the older boy was not at all affected by his lineage and reprimanded him. As someone had said, "To each his own," said Naruto and started walking away after giving a kind smile to Konohamaru. Konohamaru was quite amazed by Naruto. He saw him as Konohamaru and addressed him as such and not as the honorable grandson of the 3rd Hokage like the rest of the village, and even though Naruto scolded him, he was happy that someone recognized him. "Ni-chan, what is your name?" shouted Konohamaru. "Naruto Hatake," replied Naruto and disappeared in the crowd. The villagers were quite horrified by thinking that the demon brat was trying to influence the Hokage's grandson, but did not do anything, fearing the wrath of the Hokage, but their opinion neither mattered to Naruto nor Konohamaru. Flashback end. Konohamaru had become quite close to Naruto after that meeting and used to visit him frequently. He was like the annoying little brother that everyone would like to dote on. He constantly pestered Naruto about various things, mostly about being a shinobi and his training. Naruto also enjoyed Konohamaru's company, and with time he grew attached to Konohamaru and now loved him like his own little brother. They used to spend a lot of time together, if one could say they were like siblings. Konohamaru's loud personality and Naruto's calm attitude was quite an interesting combination, to say the least. Naruto chuckled a little on thinking about the time spent with Konohamaru. People like Anko, Kakashi, Hiruzen, his friends, and Konohamaru brought happiness in his life and were his strength. Naruto noticed that he had arrived at his destination, Training Ground 28. It was one of the most secluded training grounds of Konoha. Not many shinobi came to this place. It was more like a farm than a training ground. Lush green trees surrounded the area with a stream running nearby. There were a few training dummy posts, but nothing much significant. It was the perfect place for meditation or for people who wanted to avoid attention. Well, few bowls of ramen and a good meditation. Sounds like fun, thought Naruto happily. But then Naruto noticed that something was wrong in the training area. The entire training ground was a mess. Kunai were spread everywhere, indicating that either someone was attacked or a practice was done there. The training dummies looked as if they had been beaten to pulp. Whoa, someone sure was angry, thought Naruto. He then noticed a person lying on the ground a few meters away. Wanting to find out who this person was, Naruto went towards the person. The first thing which Naruto noticed that the person was a woman. She had wore a chunin flak jacket and black shinobi pants. She had a red sleeveless outfit underneath her jacket. She was very beautiful. Her black hair fell from her head in an almost messy fashion, but, for all its messiness, it seemed orderly, almost as if she willed it to follow her demands. Below her hair he followed that lower to her posterior. Now, Naruto was not perverted, like many people assumed because of his sexy jutsu. As such, he was surprised when a bit of blood leaked from his nose when he looked at the woman's sexy. His eyes continued their downward journey to see some of the most sexy legs he had ever laid witness to. He could see that this woman's legs were shaped with muscles, nothing too drastic but enough to prove that she worked out enough to keep her body fit. Her feet covered in sandals just like his own. She wears makeup consisting of red lipstick and purple eyeshadow. All in all, she looked like an angel. But there were also many things that were wrong. First of all, there was blood coming out of her fists. Her outfit was completely messed up with some cuts on various places. Her face had a tired expression and the dark circles around her eyes indicated that either she must have been deprived of sleep or was crying. Naruto assumed that it was the latter as her make was quite messed up, suggesting she must have been crying. Looking at the destroyed training dummies made all things clear that this woman must have destroyed them, and quite brutally. He then decided to help the woman. Well, I can't just leave her like this. Man, I wish I knew some medical ninjutsu, thought Naruto. He then stopped the bleeding from her knuckles with some bandages. He could not do anything about the bruises as he was not a medic, but still he checked her and found her vital signs to be stable. He then picked the woman and placed her in shade of a tree and went to bring some water for her from the nearby stream. After bringing some water for the woman, he sat beside her and started his meditation, deciding to wait for the woman to wake up as she definitely looked tired and distressed. Kakashi had once told him to not disturb women in their sleep. Naruto didn't listen to his advice and had once waked up Anko from her beauty sleep. He spent the rest of the day coiled up with snakes in Anko's little apartment. Damn, women are scary when they are pissed. No wonder Shikamaru says they are troublesome, thought Naruto with fear as he remembered the incident. He then started his meditation. Everything seemed to be much more peaceful around him. He could feel the cool air rubbing against his body, the peace provided by nature. He was now able to understand what Kakashi meant and was grateful to Hiruzen and Kakashi for that. Everything was going fine when suddenly he felt himself being dragged into his mindscape. Naruto found himself standing in front of a large sewer. The entire area was flooded with water, but the strange thing was the air leaked of killing intent. It was as if the entire air was full of feelings of malice and hatred. The walls surrounding the sewer were very dull. There were large gates in front of Naruto with a seal on it. All in all, it was a very depressing place. Looking behind the bars, he found himself being watched by a pair of blood-red eyes which seemed to look at him with pure hatred. He saw that these eyes belonged to a giant fox which was a few hundred feet tall and had 9 tails swinging wildly in the air. Recognizing who this person was, Naruto could just sigh. Why can't he just leave me alone for some time? Thought Naruto with frustration. The Kyuubi was sometimes as annoying as Sakura. The fox seemed to realize Naruto's boredom and took it as an insult, and soon 5 giant claws seemed to be coming out of the cage and heading towards Naruto, aiming to tear him off. Realizing the danger he was in, Naruto immediately jumped a few feet away and activated his Sharingan. Is that how you greet the person who has carried your sorry for 10 years? Said Naruto bemusedly. Shut up, you idiot. I am the Kyuubi no Kitsune, the strongest Biju in the world, roared Kyuubi angrily. And yet you are sealed in a puny little human like a slave, retorted Naruto amusingly and started laughing loudly on seeing Kyuubi growl further and trying to kill him with his claws, but the seal seemed to stop it. The seal seems to be one of the most strongest seals if it is capable of stopping even Kyuubi, thought Naruto in amazement. If not for your bastard Yondaime and this seal I would have killed you, ripped you apart and enjoyed hearing your screams till eternity, chuckled Kyubi maliciously. You can try, said Naruto with a smirk. If this wasn't enough, you have those damned eyes, muttered Kyubi, which went unnoticed by Naruto. What did you say? Asked Naruto suspiciously. Why the should I tell you? Retorted Kyubi bemusedly and laughed on seeing Naruto's eyes twitching a little. Listen Kyubi, you and I both didn't want this. You being sealed in a human and me bearing all the hatred because of all the shit you caused. I don't know why you attacked the hidden leaf and personally I don't care, said Naruto tiredly. You don't? Asked a curious Kyubi. There are few reasons. First, some people deserved it, said Naruto a little angrily. Oh, is that so? Said Kyubi with a devious chuckle. I like you brat, thought Kyubi proudly. But not all the people deserved your wrath, and second, you won't tell me even if I asked you, explained Naruto. You are smarter than you look, said Kyubi. Hey, shut up you fuzzball, yelled Naruto a little childishly. Both Kyubi and Naruto stared at each other for a few moments angrily. Both seemed to be pretty determined to not back down, but in the end Naruto averted his eyes while Kyubi had a smirk on his face on getting his victory. Look Kyubi, at least bear with me for the time you are stuck with me, requested Naruto. Why should I do that? Asked Kyubi arrogantly. Because it won't end well for you if you don't, said Naruto demonically with his Sharingan piercing in Kyubi's eyes. For a brief moment Kyubi was quite shaken by this new Naruto. He could see a younger version of Uchiha Madara and the masked man that subdued him. There was a lot of darkness in Naruto. He was not afraid of Naruto, it was quite the opposite, he was intrigued by Naruto. He was his first Jinchuriki that talked with him. Of course it was his fault that he never talked with his previous Jinchuriki, but neither of them wanted to do anything with him. But Naruto was different. Even though he possessed the Sharingan that Kyubi despised the most in the world, he was not arrogant nor did he consider Kyubi his slave. Instead he wanted a compromise with him. There will come a person in the future, the one who would establish true peace in this world or destroy it completely. All of you tailed beasts will play an important role in this person's life. No matter how far you go, you all will always be together. This person will show you the right path and the meaning of true power. Until that time, wait for your destiny and the role you will play in it, my children. These were the words said by the Raikodu Sennin, the person who saved the world from the Jubi 10 tails, and became a god and the one who created the tailed beasts. Kyubi could still remember his father's words. The Raikodu Sennin was the only human in the entire world who Kyubi respected and looked up to. I wonder if you are the one, Naruto, thought Kyubi. Oi Kyubi, snap out of it. Tell me, why have you brought me here? I have important things to do, you stupid fuzzball, said Naruto irritatingly as Kyubi just stared at him. Yeah right. Like peeking on hot older women, scoffed Kyubi. Hey, I wasn't peeking, nor is she old, retorted Naruto angrily, but had a slight blush on his face, but fortunately it was hidden behind his face mask. Quite protective are we, teased Kyubi and stared laughing on seeing Naruto's shocked expression. Balls, muttered Naruto angrily on being caught red-handed by the Kyubi. Ha ha ha, that was quite funny brat. You are an interesting human, roared Kyubi with laughter. Naruto was just itching to beat the shit out of Kyubi but remembered something. Naruto, you should have better control over your emotions. I taught you better, said Kakashi disappointingly. I won't let it happen again. I will control my emotions, thought Naruto. Alright Kyubi, what did you call me here for? Asked Naruto seriously, his voice devoid of any emotions. Kyubi stopped his laughter and looked at Naruto with something akin to interest. I wanted you know that I want you to learn everything from the Cyclops stupid brother of yours, said Kyuubi, and leaked some of his chakra to let Naruto know he was commanding him, but was quite shocked when what happened next. Naruto's Sharingan started spinning wildly, and instantly all the Kyuubi's chakra was suppressed immediately, leaving not even a single trace behind. That's just awesome, thought Naruto in awe on seeing Kyuubi's chakra being suppressed with his Sharingan. What is this boy? He can even suppress my chakra like Madara and that masked bastard. Damn, thought Kyuubi a little angrily. Call my niece-san stupid again, I'll make you suffer in ways not even you could imagine, threatened Naruto with venom in his voice. Is that a threat? Asked the Kyuubi bemusedly. That's a promise, replied Naruto with hatred in his voice that even startled the Kyuubi. I'm sure he is bipolar or something, thought Kyuubi confusedly. Alright, keep your mouth shut, I want you to learn as much as you can from the people around you and grow stronger, ordered Kyuubi. What does it matter to you? Asked Naruto confusedly. It matters everything. Your damn Yondaime created this seal in such a way that binded me to you. A threat to your pathetic existence is a threat to my own, because if you die it would take years before I can be born again, or I may even die. I don't want to waste my life if you die, explained Kyuubi. Wait, so you are immortal? Asked Naruto with fascination. Yup. I'm awesome, replied the Kyuubi with a smirk. I beg to differ, replied Naruto with his own smirk. Get out of here, your vixen is getting up, you annoying little punk, said the Kyuubi irritatingly. Hey, she isn't my vixen or any other shit like that, you fuzzball, said Naruto angrily. Is that so? Then why were you watching her with lust in your eyes? Asked Kyuubi with a smirk. Replied Naruto and disappeared from the sewer. I wonder if all the Uchihas speak the same line. It would be interesting to stay with you, Naruto, thought the Kyuubi interestingly. Naruto slowly opened his eyes and saw nothing had changed in his surroundings during his talk with the Kyuubi. The kunoichi was still slowly opening her eyes. Seeing this, Naruto went towards her. You alright? Asked Naruto in a concerned voice. The kunoichi rubbed her eyes a few times before staring briefly at Naruto. Naruto was mesmerized by the women's eyes. They were very distinct ruby red colored eyes with two black rings within them. Her eyes are so beautiful, I wonder if it is a dojutsu, thought Naruto with a light blush. Stop staring at her, you idiot, yelled Kyuubi. What's wrong, you fuzzball? I'm just looking at her eyes, stated Naruto simply. If you don't want to be kicked in the balls, stop staring, said the Kyuubi loudly, making Naruto cringe a bit. But deciding to follow Kyuubi's advice this once, Naruto averted his eyes from the women. Who are you? The woman asked sternly. Naruto Hatake, stated Naruto with a warm smile. What are you doing here? This place is reserved for shinobi and I can see that you are not one, so tell me the truth now, stated the woman dangerously. Gee, is this the thanks I get for helping her? Thought Naruto sarcastically. Yes, you are right, I am not a shinobi but an academy student, but I do have permission to come to this training ground, said Naruto. On whose authority? Asked the woman. Lord Hokage himself. If you don't believe me, ask him yourself. Now can you please stop your interrogation? Said Naruto irritatingly. Gomen, it's just that no one other than shinobi are allowed here, but I'll try to trust you and ask Lord Hokage about this, said the woman softly. Thank you, miss. Asked Naruto. Kurenai Yuhi, said the woman. Here, Kurenai-san, I've stopped the bleeding from your knuckles as best as I could, but I can't do anything about the bruises as I'm not a medic. Gomen, said Naruto sincerely and offered her water, which she drank after giving Naruto a calculating gaze that it wouldn't end well for him if something was wrong, but nothing happened. Arigato, Naruto-san, but I have a few questions for you, said Kurenai. You can call me Naruto. Well, I have some questions for you too, but please ask your questions first, said Naruto simply, and Kurenai gave him a grateful nod. Alright, Naruto, You said your last name was Hatake. I know only one person in Konoha who has that last name and he doesn't have any blood relative alive now. Care to explain? Said Kurenai. Yes, you are right, my real name is Naruto Uzumaki, but after Kakashi ni-san adopted me I changed my name, said Naruto. Kurenai's eyes widened a little on hearing Naruto's real name but schooled her features immediately. Do you hate me for what's sealed in me? Asked Naruto sadly after noticing Kurenai's shock. Kurenai was shocked to learn that Naruto was aware of what was sealed in him and even more shocked when he was able to read her emotions. No, Naruto, I do not hate you, said Kurenai with a smile. Why? Asked Naruto suspiciously. I know the difference between a jailer and a prisoner and I have faith in the Yondaime's ability, and seeing that you helped me proves I was right. You are not what people think, said Kurenai, giving Naruto a warm smile. Naruto was happy to hear that there was at least another person in the village who saw him as Naruto and not the fox. Arigato Kurenai-san, said Naruto warmly. Call me Kurenai. Now I just wanted to know, what were you doing here? You were not peeping, were you? Asked Kurenai menacingly with a dark tone. No, Kurenai, I just came here to meditate in order to relax. I swear I wasn't peeping on you, I didn't even know you were here. I just saw you injured and helped you, I didn't do anything perverted, said Naruto instantly. It's alright, Naruto, relax, I think I can believe you are saying the truth, stated Kurenai with a smile. You believe me, but you don't even know me, said Naruto in confusion. Yes, I only met you now, but I find truth in what you are saying and you wouldn't lie to me, would you? Questioned Kurenai. No, Kurenai, I am not lying and thanks for trusting me. Can I ask you a question? Asked Naruto. I'll answer your question only if I believe that it is in my power to answer that, said Kurenai firmly. Fair enough, why were you crying? Asked Naruto. Kurenai's eyes widened on hearing that Naruto had caught her so easily again. She then remembered how her life had went from better to worse. Kurenai had been living a normal life as a shinobi, that was until 6 months ago the Hokage had assigned her a specific mission. She was just a chunin of the village and was one of the best genjutsu specialists of Konoha. As a result, the Hokage had given her a mission of teaching Yakumo Kurama, the clan heir of the Kurama clan, to control her powers. The girl had enormous talent in genjutsu, which was even more than Kurenai, but the girl was mentally unstable. She had a dual personality that acted as a defense against any of her insecurities and was preventing her from controlling her powers and becoming a shinobi. Yakumo's instability was such that she had murdered her own parents by accident and was not even aware of it. Kurenai tried to help the girl in controlling her powers. Yakumo was a very kind-hearted girl, and over time Kurenai grew a lot closer to her and sometimes acted as her elder sister instead of her teacher, but despite all her efforts she failed. Yakumo's inner demon was highly unstable and as such was a threat to the village. As a result, the Kurama clan demanded Yakumo to be killed, but the Hokage refused that and instead decided to seal away Yakumo's power. He then gave Kurenai a top-secret mission to seal away Yakumo's power and thus ending her career and hopes of becoming a shinobi. Kurenai with a heavy heart sealed off Yakumo's power for the sake of the village and Yakumo herself. She took this burden of making Yakumo believe that she sealed away her power because she was jealous of her, which was entirely false, as she did not want Yakumo to hate the village. Kurenai was proud of Yakumo and had high hopes for her, but destiny played a cruel hand in her life once again. Her mother had died when she was a child, so she never received the love of a mother, and her father died defending the village during the Kyuubi attack. She had lost the people beloved to her and had become a very stoic person who was devoted to her village. She was known as the Ice Queen of Konoha, but she was not cold and uncaring as people thought her to be. Instead, she was kind, caring and a brave person who had some tragic incidents in her life. and sealing of the powers of the girl whom she considered her younger sister was the last nail in the coffin, and she was unable to bear the pain which came with it. Seeing Kurenai's painful look, Naruto decided to do something to ease her pain. I'm sorry, Kurenai, I didn't want to hurt you, but sometimes sharing your pain with others helps. If it is a private matter or something related to village secrets, or if you don't want to tell me, I understand, reassured Naruto with a kind smile. You are way mature than people your age, Naruto. How old are you anyway? Asked Kurenai with the intention of changing the topic. You're not the first person to say that. I'm 10 years old, I'll turn 11 in a few months, said Naruto, and Kurenai nodded. They both sat there in the shade of the tree in a comfortable silence. Neither of them said a word and instead were enjoying the beauty of nature and the peace it provided. Naruto seemed to just relax and had laid down on the grass and was watching the clouds. Meanwhile, Kurenai seemed to observe Naruto. She found him to be a very carefree person, and there was something about Naruto that was forcing her to believe that she could trust Naruto. She could feel a lot calmer in his presence. It was as if her pain was reduced to some extent. Deciding to start a conversation, she opted to speak first. You didn't ask my age? Asked Kurenai curiously. Well, you are very beautiful and kind person, so your age doesn't matter. And also it doesn't end very well when a person asks a girl her age, said Naruto with a chuckle. Kurenai laughed on hearing Naruto's answer but also had a light blush on her face. Naruto found her laugh adorable. I'm 17 inches, said Kurenai, and Naruto nodded with a warm smile. Naruto then took out 2 cups of ramen from his bag and a bottle of hot water. He then added the water to the ramen and stirred it a little, and after a few moments finished preparing his ramen. He then offered 1 cup of ramen to Kurenai. I know it's not what people like much, but that's what I have right now, and if I am right, you must have trained very hard, so you might be hungry. Would you like to eat some ramen? Asked Naruto sincerely. Kurenai thought over Naruto's proposal a bit. She found Naruto's words to be sincere but was hesitating a bit. I'm not hungry, Naruto, but thank you for the offer, said Kurenai politely. But after a few moments there was a low rumbling noise which came from Kurenai's stomach. Naruto laughed loudly and Kurenai looked a little embarrassed. She then took the ramen and started eating it slowly. They both sat there in silence enjoying their little meal. Well, Naruto seemed to be enjoying it a lot while Kurenai was eating in silence, but if the peaceful look on her face was any indication, then she was enjoying it too. I have done some things that I am not proud of, said Kurenai after a few moments. Kurenai was in great emotional stress. She didn't have many close friends and her best friend Anko was on a mission right now. Sure, the Hokage was there, but she could not show weakness in front of him, but after spending some time with Naruto and getting to know him to some extent, she decided to at least talk with him to ease her pain. Sure, she knew that Shinobi lived a life of deception and Naruto could be lying to her, but right now she just needed anyone to listen to her and stand beside her. Did it hurt some people? Asked Naruto softly. Yes, said Kurenai solemnly. Hokage-sama once told me that a life of a shinobi is of pain, but we do what is necessary to protect what is dear to us. I am not judging you, Kurenai, nor am I saying that I can understand your pain and sympathizing with you, because as long as people do not suffer the same pain, they could never understand the pain of other people, said Naruto sadly. He too remembered his life, the hate and pain that he suffered because of him being a Jinchuriki, and could somewhat know of Kurenai's pain, but he did not ask what she did, as it might be classified as she was a shinobi and he was not authorized to know any such information as he had not become a shinobi yet. But the main reason was he did not want to remind Kurenai of her pain. Meanwhile, realization dawned on Kurenai upon hearing Naruto's words. She knew how much Naruto must have suffered during his life, as she had once seen how the villagers treated him and felt sorry for him, but it also made her realize that what she had done with Yakumo was in order to protect her from herself and the village. This seemed to reduce her pain a lot. She could feel a lot much lighter. The guilt was still there, but now it made more sense to her than it did before. She did what she had to do as a shinobi of her village and also protected Yakumo, her precious person. Arigato Naruto, said Kurenai with teary eyes. Don't mention it, Kurenai, said Naruto with a warm smile. Why do you always wear this face mask? Are you trying to imitate Kakashi? Asked Kurenai, wiping her tears. You know Kakashi ni-san? Asked Naruto curiously. Hi, we went on a few missions together, said Kurenai. I am not trying to copy my brother. This face mask is special to me, said Naruto. How so? Asked Kurenai. This face mask was the first present that anyone gave me. It shows the bond between me and Kakashi. It was the first thing he gave me, said Naruto with a smile. I understand, said Kurenai solemnly, feeling a little sorry for Naruto. Hey, don't give me that look. I know life is hard, but it does have its good times. Besides, this face mask looks cool on me, doesn't it? Asked Naruto with a little laugh. Yes, it looks good on you, said Kurenai with a soft chuckle. Hey Kurenai, you are a Chunin, right? Asked Naruto suddenly. Yeah, said Kurenai skeptically, not sure where Naruto was heading. Which is your strongest area in shinobi arts? I mean ninjutsu, genjutsu, taijutsu, kenjutsu, or fuinjutsu? Asked Naruto with excitement. I am skilled in genjutsu and a little bit skilled in fuinjutsu, said Kurenai. Really? Genjutsu and fuinjutsu? Asked Naruto. Why do you have any problem with genjutsu or fuinjutsu? Asked Kurenai, feeling a little insulted. No, not at all, Kurenai. Genjutsu is a very skilled shinobi arts as well as fuinjutsu. I find it very interesting. A shinobi could easily complete his mission if he could just disable an enemy's senses and distract him. This would avoid time wastage and some bloodshed. Also, the mission could be completed much subtly. But I am not much skilled in genjutsu, explained Naruto a little sadly. He did not mention that he could cast strong illusions with his Sharingan, as it was a secret. Oh, I thought you didn't like genjutsu. What problems do you have? I might be able to help you as I am skilled in this art, said Kurenai with a smile. She was quite happy that Naruto did not underestimate genjutsu like many shinobi, instead wanted to learn it, and as she was a genjutsu master, decided to help Naruto a little bit. Kakashi says that I have very large amount of chakra, and as a result I have not mastered enough chakra control to cast genjutsu, but I can dispel genjutsu as taught in the academy, said Naruto honestly. That makes sense, considering Jinchuriki always had large chakra reserves. No wonder he has difficulty in controlling his chakra, thought Kurenai. Well, I can help you achieve good chakra control in order to let you train in genjutsu, offered Kurenai. Naruto was quite surprised on hearing Kurenai's answer, and as such was a little skeptical about her reasons for helping him. Why would you help me? Asked Naruto with a little doubt. I want people to accept genjutsu as an equally skilled art as ninjutsu, and as a genjutsu specialist I would help someone who is interested in it, said Kurenai with a smile. Plus I would be able to do things differently this time and pass on some teachings, thought Kurenai hopefully. Well, you've got a volunteer for your dream, said Naruto with a smile. Thanks, Naruto, said Kurenai warmly. Well, it's getting late. We should leave now, said Kurenai. Kurenai, would you like me to walk you home? Asked Naruto a little shyly. Kurenai just gave a curious look to Naruto. I don't mean it in a wrong way. Hokage-sama taught me that it is a gentleman's duty to walk a lady home. I don't mean any offense, but if you don't want it I can understand, said Naruto sincerely. It's all right. Besides, I would like your company, said Kurenai with a smile. Arigato, said Naruto. You seem to be a lot closer to Hokage-sama. Asked Kurenai. Yeah, he is like a grandfather to me. He took care of me and protected me whenever I was in danger, said Naruto. I'm sorry, Naruto, said Kurenai a little sadly. It's alright, Kurenai. Besides, I have Kakashi and my friends now, said Naruto happily, and Kurenai nodded. They walked towards Kurenai's apartment, chatting all the way about different things and enjoying each other's company. Kurenai was feeling a lot better than before, while Naruto was happy in Kurenai's company. After some time they reached Kurenai's apartment. Well, good night, Kurenai. I'll see you tomorrow, said Naruto. Meet me at Training Ground 28 in the evening tomorrow at 4 p.m. I'll give you some pointers there. And Naruto, thank you, said Kurenai with a grateful smile. Anytime, Kurenai. It was nice meeting you, said Naruto with a warm smile. He then turned around and was just about to leave when someone put a hand on his shoulder. He turned around and saw Kurenai looking at him. Would you like to be friends? Asked Kurenai softly. Would you seriously like to be friends with me? I mean, I am not much liked in the village, and also I am a bit younger than you, said Naruto, but was stopped when Kurenai gave a light flick to his forehead. Ow! What was that for, Kurenai? Asked Naruto, slightly rubbing his forehead. Kurenai chuckled on seeing Naruto pout a little. Friends are not made on the basis of age, and I don't care whether some people like you or not. You are a good person, Naruto, and so I would like to be friends with you, explained Kurenai. Then friends it is, said Naruto with a wide grin. I'll see you tomorrow, Naruto, said Kurenai. See ya, Kurenai, and you have very beautiful eyes, said Naruto, and disappeared in the street quickly. If Naruto would have looked back, he could have noticed a deep blush and a wide smile on Kurenai's face. He had just helped Kurenai get out of her emotional stress and had made her happy. I look forward to our friendship, Naruto, thought Kurenai with a wide smile. There were very few things in life that amazed Kakashi Hatake. He was fascinated by the strength of his own father, Tsukumo Hatake, who was stronger than the Sannin. Then his own sensei Minato Namikaze, who could take on armies of enemy and decimate them in minutes. Next was Itachi Uchiha, the prodigy of the Uchiha clan, who decimated the Uchiha clan on his own. But none of them could ever relate to the enigma that was Kakashi's younger brother Naruto. Naruto was like the reincarnation of Itachi Uchiha. He was a true prodigy of Konoha. At the age of 10 he had already mastered many ninjutsu, was proficient with genjutsu with his Sharingan, and a good taijutsu fighter. Kakashi was not able to understand what Naruto couldn't do. He was already a formidable shinobi at such a young age. His thinking was on par with a trained shinobi. Naruto was a calculative person who thought before he acted. Naruto was soon starting to learn Kenjutsu and in the future maybe Fuinjutsu, and if his progress so far can be taken in consideration, Kakashi was sure Naruto would become the ultimate shinobi who would excel in every ninja arts. Naruto had surprised him again, this time by creating his own jutsu. Kakashi and Naruto were right now standing in the Forest of Death. It had become their training ground since they started training a few years back. Naruto seemed to be a little excited while Kakashi looked curious. So what is this jutsu of your, Naruto? Asked Kakashi curiously. It is a jutsu which I created after studying what you taught me about the Sharingan and its powers. It would be better if I showed you, said Naruto sincerely. Alright. Go ahead, said Kakashi. Ni-san, I would like you to cast a dangerous genjutsu on me. You can do it with or without your Sharingan, requested Naruto. Why would you want that, Naruto? You know that genjutsu can harm a person mentally, don't you? Asked Kakashi. I know, but I have to test whether the jutsu I created works or not. Please, Ni-san, you can stop it immediately if I fail, but I need to do this, begged Naruto. Alright, but don't blame me afterwards, said Kakashi. Which jutsu should I use? Maybe that one should be perfect, thought Kakashi. Kakashi went through a set of hand signs and quickly executed his jutsu. Megan. Jigoku Koka no Jutsu, Demonic Illusion, Descending Hell Technique. Naruto looked around his surroundings but nothing seemed to change at first. Suddenly the air around Naruto started getting hotter and there was a loud noise from the sky. Naruto looked up and saw a large fireball the size of a giant boulder heading towards him at tremendous speed, and it could do some serious damage if it hit him. Time to test it now, thought Naruto immediately and activated his Sharingan. Meanwhile Kakashi was observing Naruto precisely in order to stop the genjutsu if things got out of hand. He saw Naruto's surprised reaction on seeing the fireball heading towards him and wanted to know why Naruto was not doing anything, but what happened next shocked Kakashi. The fireball that was about to hit Naruto had hit Kakashi himself and engulfed him in its flames. Kakashi's entire body started burning as the flames engulfed him. Realizing dawned on Kakashi that Naruto had replicated his jutsu and used it against Kakashi. He then immediately formed the ram sign intending to dispel the genjutsu. But as soon as he dispelled the genjutsu, he found himself in a dungeon bound by chains all over his body. There was entire darkness in the area and no one seemed to be in sight. Kakashi tried to unbound himself from the chains but found that his body couldn't move and he was paralyzed. What the hell is going on? I can't move my body, thought Kakashi frantically. You didn't keep your promise, Kakashi, said a voice. Kakashi looked around and saw his deceased teammate Obito Uchiha staring at him angrily. Kakashi looked away in shame. Even though it was an illusion, he still couldn't meet Obito's gaze. Why did you kill me, Kakashi? I loved you, said the voice of Rin, who appeared beside Obito. You failed me, Kakashi, said the voice of Minato from behind Kakashi. Soon one by one every person in Kakashi's life started appearing before him and started saying how disappointed they were in them. Kakashi tried to dispel the genjutsu but nothing seemed to work. Kakashi tried to stop his chakra but found his body was unable to even move. Soon Kakashi couldn't even breathe properly. It's painful, isn't it? Said Naruto, appearing among the crowd of people. His voice seemed to be full of regret. He didn't want to do this to Kakashi, but he had to see if his genjutsu was really that dangerous. What is this, Naruto? Asked Kakashi a little angrily. This is the power of my Sharingan. This is my strongest genjutsu, said Naruto. Naruto then started killing every person in front of Kakashi without any mercy. Kakashi couldn't take it anymore. He couldn't believe what Naruto was doing. He was killing everyone that Kakashi ever loved or cared for. How could you do this, Naruto? Thought Kakashi regretfully. Stop it, said Kakashi angrily as he was unable to bear the genjutsu. Immediately the chains disappeared and instead of being in a dungeon, Kakashi found himself panting on the ground of the forest of death. The people around him had disappeared and Naruto was kneeling before him and had tears in his eyes. I'm sorry, Ni-san. I didn't want to go this far but was not able to stop myself in time, said Naruto with tears falling freely from his eyes. Kakashi was very angry at Naruto and was wanting to hit him badly, but he noticed the tears in Naruto's eyes and his regretful voice and decided that Naruto was telling the truth and he could have gone overboard. I'm fine, said Kakashi flatly. He did not want to be rude but he was still angry at Naruto a little bit. I'm really sorry, said Naruto sadly. What was that genjutsu, Naruto? Demanded Kakashi. Yummy number Sakai no Jutsu, World of Darkness, said Naruto sadly. Yummy number Sakai no Jutsu, World of Darkness? Asked Kakashi curiously. It is a genjutsu that I can do with my Sharingan, said Naruto. How did you learn this genjutsu? I did not teach you anything more than simple Sharingan illusion jutsu, said Kakashi. I started learning more about my Sharingan 2 years ago. You said Sharingan can copy and replicate an enemy's jutsu, so I started to dispel my Sharingan illusions with the help of my shadow clones. I found out that my Sharingan can analyze a genjutsu and decipher how it works. For example, if I take your Megan, Jigoku Koka no Jutsu, demonic illusion, descending hell technique, it affects a person's sense of smell, sight and hearing. I was easily able to copy that technique and replicated it on you instantly, explained Naruto. What? I know Sharingan can dispel genjutsu, but how were you able to replicate my own technique against me? Asked Kakashi curiously. My Sharingan had dispelled the genjutsu as soon as it was casted on me. I just pretended to be in your jutsu and then at the right moment I casted it against you. I was never in your illusion. It's a type of illusion reversal jutsu which uses your own jutsu against you, said Naruto. That's astonishing, but what was all that after I dispelled the genjutsu? Demanded Kakashi angrily. Naruto winced a little on Kakashi's angry tone but decided to keep quiet as he had went overboard and was at fault. That was the second phase of my jutsu. I knew that trained shinobi could easily dispel the jutsu and counter it, so this is where I use my Sharingan powers, said Naruto. Sharingan powers? Asked Kakashi in shock. As soon as you dispelled the genjutsu you were in my genjutsu. I combined this genjutsu where you feel the effects of the Megan, Narakumi no Jutsu, demonic illusion, hell viewing technique. In this stage 1 not only control your senses but also use your fears against you. I control your mind in my genjutsu and can do anything I want with you and you will be helpless. There is very less chance for someone to break out of this genjutsu. These are the special ocular powers of my Sharingan. It grants me the ability to control a person. I could have controlled your mind and you wouldn't even notice if I didn't want you to notice my genjutsu, said Naruto sadly. Kakashi was left speechless after hearing this. Naruto's visual powers were so advanced than Kakashi had ever thought. Only one person in the entire history of the Uchiha clan had such visual prowess in genjutsu, and that was Uchiha Shisui. Of course, he is the descendant of Madara's brother. They both were said to possess the strongest Sharingan in the entire Uchiha clan. But still, to be able to cast such genjutsu at such young age is unbelievable. What else can your eyes do, Naruto? Thought Kakashi with a little fear. Are there any limitations to this jutsu? Does this jutsu harm your eyes or your body in any way? Asked Kakashi sternly. If this jutsu was harmful to Naruto, then he would never allow him to perform such a dangerous jutsu. It uses a lot of chakra but does not harm my eyes in any way. It does have a few limitations, explained Naruto. I thought that this jutsu was unstoppable. Questioned Kakashi as whatever he had tried didn't work. I'm not sure about that. I think if you had used your Sharingan power at a greater level, then I think you could have broken this genjutsu. Also, I cannot use this genjutsu very often. It will take a few days before I can use this genjutsu again, suggested Naruto. He's right. Probably my Mangekyo Sharingan could have broken it, but still it is a dangerous jutsu, thought Kakashi. This jutsu requires me to have eye contact with my opponent, but I am a little vulnerable when I'm casting this genjutsu. However, this genjutsu cannot be broken easily and you require the Sharingan to cast this jutsu. I know, as I had tested it before on my shadow clone, said Naruto. You tested it on yourself? Are you an idiot? Yelled Kakashi. The next few minutes Kakashi lectured Naruto on his reckless behavior and reprimanded him continuously. Naruto for his part hung his head in shame and listened as Kakashi scolded him. There's one big limitation of this genjutsu, Ni-san, said Naruto a little hesitatingly. What is that? Asked Kakashi suspiciously. I can control a person's mind, but the longer I use this genjutsu the more strain it puts on my eyes. My eyes started bleeding when I casted this genjutsu on a cat for a few hours, explained Naruto a little fearfully. Why did you lie to me when I asked you if it harms your eyes? Asked Kakashi a little angrily. I was afraid to tell you, said Naruto honestly. Naruto, you can tell me anything you want. This jutsu is harmful to your eyes if you use it longer than necessary, so you should not use it until necessary. Still, it was reckless of you to do this, but I am still proud of you, said Kakashi with a little smile. You're proud of me? Asked a shocked Naruto. Yes, Naruto, it is one of the strongest genjutsu I have ever seen. Your Sharingan is truly unique. It is probably an A-rank genjutsu. It may even become an S-rank genjutsu in the future, said Kakashi proudly. Is it that advanced genjutsu Ni-san? Asked Naruto in amazement. Indeed it is, but never use it on your comrades, said Kakashi very sternly. Hi Ni-san, I will never use this genjutsu on my comrades, said Naruto sincerely. Now I want you to inform me before you create any other jutsu, as they might harm you and I don't want you getting hurt, said Kakashi seriously. I will tell you Ni-san, if you want I can even teach my jutsu to you, said Naruto happily. You want to teach me your own jutsu? Asked Kakashi surprisedly, but was a little happy too, as Naruto trusted him enough to teach him such advanced jutsu. I owe you a lot Ni-san. You took care of me when no one did, you trained me, educated me, provided me the love of a big brother. Everything I am today is only because of you, said Naruto with a true smile. Kakashi was left speechless after hearing what Naruto had said. He truly loved Naruto like his own little brother and was happy to see that Naruto felt the same for him. I'll try to learn your jutsu and tell you what. Since you are willing to teach me your own jutsu, I shall teach you mine, said Kakashi happily. Your personal jutsu? Asked Naruto in an excited voice. Kakashi had indeed taught him many jutsu, but never was one of them his own, and now Kakashi was willing to teach him his own jutsu. This was a big honor. It's called the Chidori, said Kakashi, and created a blue ball of chakra in his right hand. The jutsu became visible and was making a loud chirping noise. Whoa Ni-san, that is so cool, what does it do? Asked Naruto curiously. Kakashi then charged towards a nearby tree and smashed his Chidori through it with a loud noise. The tree was teared apart from the attack and had a large crater at the point of impact. Amazing, said Naruto with fascination. It is an A-rank assassination jutsu which I created few years ago, said Kakashi. Please will you teach me this jutsu, Ni-san? Asked Naruto excitedly. I'll teach you that, but not right now. Let's begin our training for now, instructed Kakashi. Naruto and Kakashi then continued their training for the next few hours. Their main focus of training was based on improving Naruto's form of taijutsu. He had indeed improved his style of fighting. Naruto's fighting style was dependent on his speed and agility. Anko had indeed trained him well with the Hubby style, while Kakashi had taught him the Uchiha's intercepting fist, which taught him how to read and interpret an enemy's movements, and combined that with the Hubby style made Naruto's taijutsu formidable. After a few hours of training, we find a tired-looking Naruto and a little exhausted Kakashi sitting near a lake in the Forest of Death. Both seemed to be relaxing after a hard training session. Naruto seemed to be having a troubled expression on his face, which did not go unnoticed by Kakashi. What's troubling you, Naruto? Asked Kakashi. Do people deserve second chances? Asked Naruto confusedly. Well, if they want to change the past and amend their mistakes honestly, then I think it is better if we give them a chance. Why do you ask that? Asked Kakashi curiously. Today at the academy there was a change in Sasuke's behavior, said Naruto. What did he do? Asked Kakashi curiously. He sent me a respectful nod instead of the usual disinterested look which he gives to everyone, and did not insult anyone. He was acting a little strangely as compared to his normal behavior, explained Naruto. Maybe he realized his mistakes after his spar with you, Naruto, suggested Kakashi. Why do you think I should even give him a chance? He is just an arrogant stuck-up prick, said Naruto a little angrily. Look Naruto, I'm not trying to defend Sasuke but try to look at his life. His own big brother murdered everyone he loved, he lost everything in the brink of an eye. He is alone right now with no friends and family and his goal is just to kill his big brother and bring justice to his clan. He is walking the path of revenge and he needs a friend right now. All I'm saying that if he shows signs of change and wants to be friends with you at least give him a chance because in a way you and Sasuke are brothers, explained Kakashi. I understand and I think I'll reserve my judgment and if he wants to change I'll help him, said Naruto with a small smile. Now that's the Naruto I know, said Kakashi playfully. I met someone yesterday Ni-san, said Naruto suddenly. Who was this person? Asked Kakashi a little seriously. Her name was Kurenai Yuhi, said Naruto. Kurenai? Where did you meet her? Asked Kakashi curiously. Naruto then narrated the entire incident about how he found Kurenai and he helped her in his new friendship with Kurenai and her offer for help in improving Naruto's genjutsu. Well, Kurenai is a nice person, I don't have any problem as long as you tell me or Hokage-sama about what she teaches you. Though I would like if you tell me, said Kakashi. I would tell you but what can Kurenai teach me? You seem to be good in genjutsu, how can she help in improving my genjutsu? Asked Naruto with a little doubt in his voice. I am a ninjutsu specialist Naruto, though I am good at genjutsu I cannot provide you proper guidance in genjutsu apart from Sharingan illusions and you clearly have learned all you can from me in Sharingan illusions, you have even surpassed me in your Sharingan genjutsu, said Kakashi proudly. Thanks Ni-san, that means a lot to me, said Naruto. I do want to know why you need to learn genjutsu. Your Sharingan illusions are more than enough, suggested Kakashi. I do not want to be dependent entirely on my Sharingan for genjutsu. There may be battles in which my Sharingan can't help me there I can use my own genjutsu without the Sharingan. You taught me to always have a contingency plan, explained Naruto. That's understandable, but even though Kurenai is a nice person and a friend of mine you, said Kakashi but was cut off by Naruto. You should never trust anyone blindly, Shinobi Rule 38 inches said Naruto with a smirk. Smartass, said Kakashi with a smirk and bonked Naruto on the head. Hee, I know I won't reveal anything important to her until I can trust her, said Naruto. That's good, said Kakashi. Well Ni-san I'll go to training ground 28 to meet her. I have to meet her after some time, said Naruto and got up to leave. Naruto if you find anything suspicious report it immediately to me. If you are in trouble call me, don't try to be a hero, said Kakashi giving Naruto a stern look. I will, said Naruto. XXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXX sensed a few number of chakra signatures headed his way. Acting on instincts, he immediately took out a kunai and got into a battle stance to face whoever or whatever was headed his way. Now, Naruto was by no means paranoid, but he knew not many people came to the Forest of Death. Only a selected few Anbu and Anko visited the Forest of Death. So his pursuers were most probably Anbu, and so it was pointless to run when the Anbu had gotten very close. Naruto knew he was probably a Junin-level ninja, but even he was not capable of taking on an entire squad of Anbu. He knew he had just told Kakashi that he wouldn't do something reckless, but he had no choice as there was no time. Naruto's suspicions were proved correct when a squad of Anbu Black Ops landed nearby him. These Anbu had the same faceless masks that the Anbu that had attacked Naruto a few years ago. They are the same Anbu. What do they want with me? Thought Naruto and got ready to fight. We do not wish to fight you, Naruto-san, said the female of the group in a stoic voice. Then why are you here? Asked Naruto suspiciously. We just want to deliver a message to you, said the female Anbu. From whom? Asked Naruto. Danzo-sama wishes to speak to you, said the female Anbu. Why would I want to meet him? The last time when one of you showed up they tried to kill me, said Naruto angrily. Danzo-sama wishes to talk with you about your father, said the female Anbu. Naruto was shocked to hear this. All of his anger just vanished. He always wanted to know who his father was, and despite everything he couldn't find anything about him. If this Danzo knew something about his father, then he would meet him regardless of the dangers. Who is this Danzo-sama you talk about? And how can I trust you? Asked Naruto, giving the Anbu a stern look. We do not wish to harm you, Naruto-san. All of your questions will be answered by Danzo-sama. It is your choice if you wish to come or not. If you do not want to come with us, we will leave you immediately, replied the female Anbu without any emotion in her voice. Naruto thought about it for a few moments. There was risk, but if he could find out about his father, then he would make a deal with the devil himself. Alright, I'll come with you, but if I find anything suspicious I will kill you, said Naruto sternly. Very well. But we will cover your eyes as the place we are going is of high security, said the female Anbu, and Naruto nodded a little hesitatingly. The female Anbu then put a hand on Naruto's shoulder and Naruto felt himself being sunshined. For the next few minutes Naruto could feel descending down multiple stairs. After a few moments the Anbu stopped and opened Naruto's blindfold. The first thing which Naruto noticed that he was in a dark room. There was no furniture in the room. It was plain. There were a few pictures of Konoha and a picture of the Nadaime Hokage on the wall. Naruto found these characteristics to be very strange. Naruto heard the sound of a cane making contact with the ground. He looked towards that direction and found a man standing there. He had black shaggy hair. The man appeared to be old, probably the same as the Hokage if the wrinkles on his face was any indicator. He wore a gray robe which covered his entire body and had his right hand wrapped in it. The man's right eye was covered by bandages and he was looking at Naruto with a neutral expression. You must be Danzo? Asked Naruto flatly. Indeed, I am Naruto. I wish to speak with you, said Danzo with a neutral tone in his voice. What do you know about my father? Asked Naruto immediately. Straight to the point, I see. But before I tell you about your father, what can you tell me about these two pictures? Asked Danzo and pointed to two pictures on the wall with his cane. Naruto looked up at the wall and noticed a picture of the village, and the other picture was that of the Nadaime Hokage. It is a picture of the village, and if I'm assuming correct, this picture shows the importance of Konoha, as I don't think you are a person who would keep fancy pictures, said Naruto. Danzo chuckled on hearing Naruto's answer, while the Anbu in the room didn't show any emotions. You are indeed smart, but what do you think of the Nadaime? Asked Danzo. The Nidame was one of the greatest shinobi of the village. He introduced the rules which we follow as a shinobi today. He was a shrewd man who valued the safety of Konoha above everything else and followed the rules of shinobi to the core, explained Naruto. It seems Kakashi has trained you well, said Danzo. How do you know Kakashi ni-san is training me? Asked a shocked Naruto. I know everything about you, Naruto. I even know about your Sharingan, said Danzo, suddenly shocking Naruto. That's impossible, said Naruto disbelievingly. We live in a world of deception and lies, Naruto. What you see may not be the reality. Every person likes to live in their own fantasies. But I know everything about Konoha and everything about you, said Danzo with a smirk. Naruto didn't know what to say. This man knew almost everything about him, and if he knew about his Sharingan, then what other secrets did this man know about his life? Naruto decided to find out what this man knew. How do you know about my Sharingan? asked Naruto sternly. Before I answer that, let me ask you something. Why do you think the Yondaime sealed the Kyuubi in you? Asked Danzo strictly. Again, Naruto didn't answer and remained silent. Danzo took it as a cue to continue his explanation. You were made the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi in order to protect Konoha. Also, the only people who are capable of containing the Kyuubi in their body were Uzumaki, as they had exceptional chakra which was necessary to control the strongest Biju of this world. But after the destruction of the Uswamki clan during the Third Great Ninja War, there were not many Uzumaki left. You should know this, as your mother was the second Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi while your great-grandaunt was the first Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, explained Danzo. Naruto couldn't move. It was as if the world had just stopped around him. His mother was the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi and his great-grandaunt too. Many questions were arising in his mind, and Danzo read Naruto's emotions and decided to explain further. You now understand that the Yondaime didn't choose you just because he wanted to make you a Jinchuriki, but he did it because he had no choice, said Danzo calmly. Naruto's respect for the Yondaime increased as he now understood that the Yondaime was forced to do this to him, and if he was in the Yondaime's place he would have done the same to protect his family and village. But that was not the main reason the Yondaime chose you to bear this burden, said Danzo. Why did he do it? Asked Naruto neutrally, not displaying his feelings to this man. It was because he trusted his son the most in the entire world with such power and wanted you to protect the village, said Danzo sternly, but was quite confident that this would prove to be the most shocking thing Naruto had ever heard, and now he could put his plans into motion. The Yondaime was my father? Asked a shocked Naruto. He couldn't believe that his own father was the fourth Hokage, the person he admired the most in the world. The person who gave him this burden was his own father. Yes, Minato Namikaze, the Yondaime Hokage of Konoha, was your father. You are his legacy. I guess Hiruzen didn't tell you about this, didn't he? Smirked Danzo. No, Gigi didn't tell me anything about my father. He told me he would tell me when I was older, said Naruto. There are many things that Hiruzen has kept in the dark from you. I'm sure he didn't even tell you that you have a relative who is alive, said Danzo with a smirk. There is someone alive from my family? Asked Naruto hopefully. He was grateful for having Kakashi as his brother, but if there was someone alive from his family, then Naruto would wanted to find them out. Yes. Her name is Tsunade Senju. She is the granddaughter of Mito Uzumaki, who was the Shodai Hokage's wife and your great-grandaunt. Tsunade is your mother's cousin sister and is your aunt, explained Danzo. Naruto was feeling a large number of emotions. A part of him was happy that he had an aunt that was alive, and Tsunade Senju, of the legendary Sannin, was related to him. He also felt anger against Hiruzen for hiding all of this from him, and was also confused as why Tsunade had never even came to see him even once. Hiruzen didn't even tell you that you had a godfather, didn't he? Asked Danzo deviously. A godfather? Asked Naruto disbelievingly. Yes, Jiraiya of the Sannin is your godfather, said Danzo. Naruto's anger was increasing with every passing moment. His real family had abandoned him, his Gigi had kept all of this in the dark from him, and his so-called family had not even came to see him once or cared if he was alive or not. Seeing Naruto getting angry, Danzo decided to hit the nail in the coffin. Before you jump to any conclusions, you must know that Tsunade did not abandon you, said Danzo. What do you mean? Asked Naruto curiously. She was the one who adopted you first when you were an infant and took care of you for 3 years, explained Danzo. She adopted me? Asked Naruto warmly. He felt happy that his aunt had at least not abandoned him, but he also wanted to know what happened with her and how did he end up in the orphanage before Kakashi adopted him. Yes, this was one of the biggest secrets of Konoha. She loved you like her own son and wanted to be your mother, but Hiruzen took her away from you, explained Danzo. Why did Gigi do this? Asked Naruto on the verge of tears. He didn't do this because he personally hated you but was forced to do it. Tsunade was taking care of you in a secluded part of the village which was closely guarded by the Anbu Black Ops, but she didn't want to stay in the village due to some personal reasons and was also worried for your safety. So she wanted to leave the village, but as you are a Jinchuriki, you are an asset of the village like every shinobi, and so she couldn't take you with her, and Hiruzen was forced to make you stay in the village as he couldn't allow you to be taken away from the village as other nations may kidnap you for your power, explained Danzo. Tsunade, Oba-chan, thank you for being there for me. No matter what happens I will find you, thought Naruto. However, Jiraiya never cared for you even if he was your godfather. He didn't even came to see you once and instead focused on his spy network, said Danzo evilly. With each passing moment Naruto didn't know what to feel. A part of his mind couldn't believe that the Hokage whom he considered his grandfather had done this to him. Hiruzen had taken away his only living family, a woman who loved him like a mother was taken away from him, his own godfather had abandoned him. This was greatly painful for Naruto. On the other hand, irrational thoughts were arising in his mind that whether all of this was true or was he being manipulated. How do you know all of this? How can I even believe that what you said is the truth? Asked Naruto suspiciously. I am an elder of the village and as such I know many things about the village as I served on the council. And what I'm telling you is the truth, whether you want to believe me or not is all up to you. I have never lied to you like Hiruzen and have told you your truth, said Danzo. What do you want from me? Asked Naruto tiredly. Many of his beliefs were shattered due to these revelations and his trust in people had shaken up tremendously. I only want you to protect Konoha. I know some people in the village do not like you, but you should not get affected by it. Think of the sacrifices made by your father. He sacrificed his own life to save the village and entrusted the village's future to you by granting you the power of the Kyuubi. Your father was a true shinobi, said Danzo. Naruto could clearly understand what Danzo was saying. His father, the Yondaime Hokage of Konoha, had entrusted everything to him and it was his duty to protect the village. And even though Hiruzen had hidden some things from him, he could understand he had to make some painful decisions as the Hokage. I am not telling that Hiruzen hates you, but he only did what was best to protect you. But Hiruzen is too soft, he lacks the will to take harsh decisions when it comes to the safety of Konoha. One of his biggest mistakes was letting Orochimaru, one of the biggest traitor of Konoha, to live because he got swayed in his emotions over his prized student, explained Danzo. Naruto agreed with Danzo that Hiruzen should not have let Orochimaru live. Naruto did not like Orochimaru, he hated him, he was responsible for Anko's miserable life. He had branded Anko with the curse seal and had destroyed her life. Naruto loved Anko like his elder sister, and if Hiruzen had just killed Orochimaru, then Anko's life would have been different. Instead of living a life of being hated, she would have been able to live a happy life. This was one of the biggest regrets that Naruto had of Hiruzen. The ninja world is an ascetic world. A true shinobi controls his emotions and serves in shadows in order to protect the village and strengthen the nation. The village is all that matters and nothing else. Self-sacrifice is the way of true shinobi, to be ready to sacrifice anything and do what is necessary in order to protect the village is the duty of the true shinobi. This was the will of the Nidame Hokage, the one which your father followed to the core, explained Danzo. Naruto was listening carefully to what Danzo was saying. He found Danzo's words to be very true, and his father had done the same thing in order to protect the village, and so had the Nidame Hokage. You are truly special and are the legacy of Minato, so I kept tabs on you. And as for how I know of your Sharingan, Do you remember the incident when you were attacked by Anbu few years ago? Asked Danzo. Yes, the Anbu with the same masks had attacked me, said Naruto, pointing his finger to the Anbu in the room. I sent the Anbu after you in order to test how strong you were to do your duty as a shinobi of the village, said Danzo. By killing me, you wished to test me? Asked Naruto sarcastically. I only wished to see how strong you had become after Kakashi started to train you. I did not order the Anbu to kill you but just test your strength, however you ended up killing one of them by accident, said Danzo. Naruto lowered his head in shame. Even though he had acted in self-defense, he hated bloodshed but also knew as a shinobi he may have to kill, but that doesn't mean he had to like killing people. Danzo saw the shame on Naruto's face. If any of his root had behaved in such a pathetic manner, then he would have killed them instantly, but he knew he had to be patient with Naruto if he wanted his plan to work. You should not be ashamed. Their deaths were not meaningless. Due to that accident, your Sharingan awakened and your powers increased. They died as a true shinobi in a battle, said Danzo proudly. How can you say that for your own people? Asked Naruto angrily. Self-sacrifice is the way of a true shinobi. Their deaths were unfortunate, but I do not regret it. Instead, I cherish that such shinobi served and died for the village. My aim is to protect Konoha and bring peace to this world, said Danzo confidently. Danzo knew that his way of peace was of making Konoha rule over the entire world, but Naruto didn't need to know that for now. He had plans for Naruto and he would make sure that his ambitions were fulfilled. Naruto's dream was to create a peace where people can understand each other. Where there was no hatred, no sorrow, no pain. Where parents didn't have to die, where children didn't have to grow up alone, where shinobi did not hate each other. And as such, he was intrigued by how can Danzo share views of peace. I, along with a few of my comrades, do whatever it is necessary to protect Konoha and bring peace to the shinobi world. We do what is necessary, said Danzo proudly. Are you trying to oppose Gigi? Asked Naruto sternly. Naruto was still angry at Hiruzen for lying to him, but he still cared for him, and if Danzo intended to harm him, then he would stop Danzo. No, Naruto, Hiruzen and I are comrades. We do have a different ideology and thoughts, but we both want to protect Konoha, and I do things which Hiruzen isn't able to do, said Danzo tactfully. You don't want to become Hokage. From what I've heard you say, you don't like Gigi and you think you can do better than him, accused Naruto. He is indeed quite perceptive. I have to give you credit for that, Kakashi, thought Danzo, impressed with Naruto's accurate perception. No, I do not wish to become Hokage, I only wish to help Hiruzen. He was my teammate and as such it is my duty to help him to protect the village, lied Danzo. Danzo then tapped his cane on the ground and an Anbu came forward with a scroll and handed it to Naruto. Naruto took the scroll and was curious as what was in this scroll. What's in this scroll? Asked Naruto curiously. This is a scroll containing a summoning contract for crows, said Danzo with a smirk. Naruto's eyes widened on hearing this. He knew summoning contract were extremely rare and priceless and were a great assist for a shinobi. Only certain shinobi had summons. Kakashi had his dog summons, Jiraiya was the toad sage. For Danzo to give Naruto a summoning contract was strange for Naruto. Why are you giving me this? Asked Naruto curiously. It is a gift which I want to give you. I have faith that you will use it to protect the village, said Danzo. What do you want in return? I don't think you would just give me a summoning contract like that, asked Naruto suspiciously. Danzo was a master in manipulating people. He had lured Naruto to him by using his knowledge of Minato and Naruto as bait. He had then revealed Naruto's secrets to him which Hiruzen had hidden from him and had weakened his belief in Hiruzen. He had then went on to explain his ideology to Naruto, hoping to get him on his side, and the final finishing was offering the boy a big gift as a summoning contract to strengthen his beliefs in Danzo. Naruto was very important for Danzo's plans. Not only was the boy the Jinchuriki of Kyuubi, but was also related to the first two Hokages and was the son of the fourth Hokage, and as such would have great political and militaristic advantage in Konoha in the future, and if he wanted to become the Hokage, then having Naruto on his side would be a huge benefit for him. Naruto also was a powerful shinobi, and if he could understand Danzo's ideals, then he could become Danzo's ultimate weapon. So Danzo decided to do whatever necessary in order to fulfill his goals and was patient in dealing with Naruto and changing his beliefs. I believe you can use it more properly than anyone else. I do not want anything in return. Your father did a lot for his village, and the least I can do is guide you in protecting what your father died for, said Danzo tactfully. Naruto nodded. If Danzo was just giving him a summoning contract without wanting anything in return, that he was not refusing it. Summoning contracts were very rare. Finally, my plans will be fulfilled, thought Danzo. Now I need to ask you, Naruto, will you do whatever it takes to become a true shinobi and cooperate with me so that we can protect Konoha and bring peace to this world? Asked Danzo with a smirk. The entire room fell silent. Everyone's eyes were fixed on Naruto and thinking what decision he would make and what destiny had in store for Konoha and the shinobi world. Naruto stood there in the dark room, thinking about all of the things he had learned right now. He was the son of the fourth Hokage. Now that he thought about it, there were many times he felt that the fourth and he looked alike. They had the same spiky blonde hair which no one in Konoha had, sapphire blue eyes, his face was a complete replica of the Yondaime. All of the doubts Naruto had were proven true, he was truly the son of the Yondaime Hokage. This made Naruto proud as well as sad at the same time. Proud for being the son of the greatest hero of the Hidden Leaf, and sad because his own father had sacrificed him for the village. Even if Minato's intentions were good and was for the village, Naruto resented what Minato had done to him. He had sealed a tailed beast in his own son, left Naruto for a life of misery and pain. Minato will forever be remembered as a hero of the Hidden Leaf while he was considered a demon. And what about his mother? She was the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi. Did she also agree to seal such a monster in Naruto? Did she not love him? She should have known how miserable a life of a Jinchuriki is, and even then she agreed with it. They are nothing but trash for sacrificing their own son, thought Naruto regretfully. Next was the issue of his aunt, the mystery behind her, and was all of this even true, or was he just simply being fed lies and was being manipulated? He looked at Danzo. The man seemed to be looking at him calmly without displaying any emotions on his face. Naruto was not sure what he thought about Danzo. The man seemed to be knowing a lot of secrets about Konoha. Such secrets that were only privy to the Hokage. He had his own Anbu who were nothing more than machines who didn't display any emotions. Danzo was the one who was monitoring him for a long time and even sent his men to attack him. But the most dangerous things were his ideals of peace. He wants to bring peace, but he doesn't even hesitate to sacrifice his own comrades, and nor does he care about their deaths. He wants to protect Konoha and wants to use any means necessary. He seems to be a war hawk who believes he can do anything, thought Naruto analytically. Danzo seemed to like Hiruzen and hated his ideologies and wanted Naruto to join him. Naruto wondered why was he so important for Danzo, and then the whole plan became a lot more clear to Naruto. He was the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails, he had the Sharingan and would be a force to be reckoned with in the future. Also, if his heritage became known to the public, then the people would be more supportive of him as he was the son of the fourth Hokage. Naruto clearly understood that he was a tool which Danzo wanted to use as a means for his own ambitions. Where did he get the crow summoning contract? Thought Naruto. Summoning contracts were very rare. The only summons which Naruto thought Konoha had were the slugs, toads, snakes and dogs. For Danzo to possess a summoning contract and giving it so easily to Naruto under the lie of as a sign of his faith indicated something fishy. What would happen if he tries to take over Konoha? He already seems to have his own shinobi, knows deep secrets about Konoha and me, he despises Gigi's ideology, wants to get peace but doesn't care about people and considers them tools. What should I do? Thought Naruto deeply. Naruto did not hate the village, even if what Danzo said was true. He loved his friends. If Hiruzen had lied to him, then he must have had good reasons. Naruto trusted Hiruzen far more than Danzo. Hiruzen and Kakashi were there for him while Danzo even sent his own men to try to kill him to measure his strength, so Naruto decided to trust Hiruzen instead of Danzo. But there were few things that were troubling Naruto a lot. How much more has Danzo been hiding? How many secrets does he know? His ideologies are a threat to the village and my family, thought Naruto firmly. If he knows so many things and does not like Gigi's way of thinking, who's to say he won't try to usurp power and become Hokage himself? He tells he does not want to become Hokage, but I don't think he is telling the truth, thought Naruto. Naruto then wondered what his next action should be and what repercussions would it have for him and the village. A shinobi is a person who endures pain and sacrifices everything in order to fulfill his duty and protect what is precious to him. Naruto remembered what Hiruzen had told him a few years ago. In order to protect his village and find out the truth about himself and Danzo, Naruto made a decision that would change his life forever. What is your answer, Naruto? Are you willing to sacrifice everything for the sake of the village and the nation? Asked Danzo firmly. Self-sacrifice will be my way of ninja. I will do whatever it takes to protect my precious people, even if it means joining you, Danzo. I will find out what you are up to, and if you are a threat to my family I will kill you, thought Naruto with determination. Hi, Danzo-sama, said Naruto with fake devotion. Danzo seemed to look at Naruto for a moment, trying to detect any hidden intentions, but Naruto remained stoic and looked at Danzo without averting his eyes from him. Seems he has understood the meaning of shinobi. You will be a great asset to the village and for me, thought Danzo. Looks like I'm a spy in enemy camps. Who would have thought I would become a spy for the Hokage in my own village, thought Naruto humorously. Welcome to the Foundation, you will take your orders from me. The future of the Leaf Village depends on you. Mistakes will not be tolerated, said Danzo with authoritativeness. Yes, sir, said Naruto with determination. Danzo then passed a little note to Naruto and gave him the signal to read it. Naruto read the note and understood the meaning behind it. He gave a calculative gaze to Danzo and started reading it. Those of the Foundation have no names, no emotions. There is no past, no future, but only the mission. We are the roots that support the trunk of the Great Leaf Village from the shadows, said Naruto firmly. Good. Always remember that. Now you will await for further orders from me. Until then you are dismissed. Your identity in the Foundation should not be known. We do not exist. Do you understand? Asked Danzo stoically. Hi! Yelled Naruto. Naruto then gave a short bow to Danzo, and the Anbu squad that had brought him to the base took him away with a shunshin. Danzo then gave a signal and immediately two Anbu stepped from the shadows and bowed before him. Keep an eye on him. If he shows any sign of opening his mouth, erase his memory of this meeting and everything related to the Foundation, instructed Danzo. Permission to speak, Danzo-sama? Asked one of the Anbu, to which Danzo gave a nod. Why didn't you give him a cursed seal? He could reveal the contents of this meeting to the Hokage. Asked one of the Anbu without emotion. I cannot place a cursed seal on him. Hiruzen or Kakashi would notice instantly and there would be various questions that will follow afterwards. So it is your job to make sure to keep an eye on Naruto, ordered Danzo. The two Anbu nodded and disappeared in the shadows. Soon, very soon, Konoha will rule over all the shinobi world and I will be the one to establish peace. My era has come, thought Danzo with a smirk. Naruto was rushing towards training ground 28 with tremendous speed. His meeting with Danzo had gone longer than expected and as a result he was 15 minutes late for his meeting with Kurenai and Naruto knew how badly women react when a person arrives late. Naruto was thinking how things had changed in a matter of few hours. He had voluntarily become a spy in Danzo's foundation in order to protect the village from Danzo's fanatical ideologies and beliefs. He didn't know how he was going to find out the truth, but he would not rest until he finds out what the truth was about him and Danzo. I cannot tell Gigi or Kakashi ni-san about this. Danzo seems to be a very secretive person. If he has such sensitive information about me and Konoha, then surely he would have taken appropriate measures to cover his tracks. I will have to enter the foundation and track down Danzo's activities by myself, thought Naruto with determination. Naruto then thought about his parents and a feeling of sadness came across his heart. But before jumping to any conclusions, he decided to investigate the truth instead of believing Danzo blindly. Naruto arrived at the training ground 28 and looked around for any signs of Kurenai. She seemed to be nowhere in sight. Guess I was late, thought Naruto dejectedly. Then immediately an idea came across his mind. He started concentrating in order to find any traces of Kurenai or anyone else's chakra in the area. At first it seemed that no one was there, but after a few more minutes of hard concentration Naruto found a faint trace of 2 chakra signatures coming from some distant trees. These 2 chakra signatures were so hard to detect that they must be Anbu or elite Junin level ninja. Now the question was, were these Anbu, Junin of the Hokage or of Danzo? Assuming them to be of Danzo's men, Naruto knew Danzo must be keeping an eye on him, so he decided to remain cautious and started searching for Kurenai's chakra signature again. He found a faint trace of chakra signature from a tree which was few feet away from him. Walking towards the tree, Naruto quickly formed the ram seal and released a little chakra, dispelling the genjutsu. As soon as the genjutsu was dispelled, Naruto saw a person standing there giving him a stern look. This person was none other than Kurenai. Naruto flinched a little on seeing Kurenai's hard gaze and also felt guilty as it was his fault that she had to wait for him. Naruto, why are you late? Asked Kurenai a little angrily. Forgive me, Kurenai, my training with Kakashi went a little longer and I got late. I'm sorry, said Naruto apologetically and bowed in front of Kurenai. Kurenai was not a person who accepted excuses. She was a strict person who always accomplished her tasks on time and as such hated when people arrived late for work or gave excuses, but seeing Naruto bow before her asking for forgiveness melted her heart. She then put a hand on Naruto's shoulder. Naruto looked up and saw Kurenai giving him a small smile. It's all right, but please don't let it happen again, said Kurenai softly. Arigato, Kurenai. I promise I won't ever be late again, said Naruto sincerely. Kurenai smiled a little on hearing Naruto's promise. So, how were you able to see through my genjutsu? Even though I was not trying harder, but still, how were you able to spot me? Asked Kurenai curiously. Oh, I was just lucky, joked Naruto, rubbing the back of his head. I don't think so, said Kurenai a little skeptically. Alright, I was able to sense your genjutsu, said Naruto honestly. Kurenai seemed to be impressed with Naruto's ability, even if it was just a low-level genjutsu. For an academy student to see it so much easily and dispel it was quite impressive. That's impressive. Now shall we begin your training? Asked Kurenai a little enthusiastically. Training a person who was interested in genjutsu was always Kurenai's dream. That dream had failed with Yakumo, but with Naruto she hoped to give him proper guidance in genjutsu. What are waiting for Kurenai? Said Naruto with enthusiasm. Alright, now first I want you to tell me all you know about genjutsu. Instructed Kurenai, wanting to know what Naruto knew about genjutsu. Genjutsu techniques are the illusion techniques of a ninja. They normally require hand seals. Genjutsu will use hypnotism to cause hallucinations in others. By causing such illusions, they can cause their target mental pain and suffering just as real as physical hurt. Genjutsu is created when a ninja extends their chakra flow through the cerebral nervous system of their opponent to control their mind's chakra, thereby affecting their five senses. Explained Naruto. Excellent. Now do you know the number of ways to dispel a genjutsu? Asked Kurenai. To combat the effects of genjutsu, there are two options. The first option is for the ninja to stop the flow of chakra in their body, and then apply an even stronger power to disrupt the flow of the caster's chakra. The second option is to have an outside ninja unaffected by the genjutsu make body contact, and use their chakra to disrupt the caster's flow. However, there are some other ways to break genjutsu. By causing intense pain to his own body, a person can break genjutsu, or with the help of dojutsu like the Sharingan, concluded Naruto. Kurenai was very impressed with Naruto's perfect theoretical knowledge relating to genjutsu. That's very accurate explanation. However, there is one more way to break a genjutsu, said Kurenai calmly. What is it? Asked Naruto curiously. Strong smells are also able to break a person out of genjutsu. For example, if a person is caught in a genjutsu and if chili pepper bombs are bursted near him, then it would affect his sense of smell and thus will dispel the genjutsu casted on him. Explained Kurenai. That's strange. Said Naruto. In order to be able to use genjutsu, a person must have very good chakra control and high level of intelligence so that he can make the genjutsu according to the battle scenarios, said Kurenai. Well, I know some chakra control exercises and have mastered them, said Naruto. Which exercises do you know? Asked Kurenai curiously. I can do the leaf balancing taught at the academy, while Kakashi has taught me tree walking and water walking, said Naruto honestly. That's logical given your condition. If you even want to learn any ninjutsu, you must at least know tree walking and water walking. Kakashi has indeed given you some good training, said Kurenai with a small smile. Oh, you have no idea, Kurenai, thought Naruto with a smirk. But considering you have very high chakra reserves, these chakra control exercises are not capable for you to have effective control for genjutsu. I can understand why Kakashi was not able to teach you much because he is a ninjutsu specialist while I am a genjutsu specialist. With time I'll help you in learning genjutsu, said Kurenai confidently. Arigato Kurenai, do you have any chakra control exercise in mind? Asked Naruto curiously. Yes, in fact I know a few chakra control exercises that will help you increase your chakra control tremendously. But they won't be easy to learn and even harder to master, warned Kurenai. No matter what happens I will learn them, believe it, said Naruto with determination. Kurenai gave a true smile and was happy to see Naruto's fierce determination for learning genjutsu. Alright. The exercise which I am going to teach you are the kunai balancing and senbon balancing techniques. These are elite Junin level exercises. Normally you wouldn't need to do so much exercise to cast a genjutsu, but you have very large chakra reserves, so you will need to train harder in order to control your chakra, explained Kurenai. That's fine, so which one I'm going to learn first? Asked Naruto curiously. The kunai balancing chakra control exercise is the one which you are going to learn first. This exercise is divided into 3 parts. In the first stage you must make the kunai stand up in your hand with the help of your chakra. Then in the second stage you use your chakra to balance on point of kunai that is stuck in the ground with the help of only one finger. and in the final stage you must use your chakra to make the kunai spin in your hand very quickly. This is the exercise, explained Kurenai briefly. Man, that sounds difficult, said Naruto tiredly. You are not giving up, are you? Said Kurenai with fake anger. Nah, it's difficult, but I'll do it anyways, said Naruto with a smile. That's good. Now take out a kunai and place it on your right hand, instructed Kurenai. Naruto took out a kunai from his pouch and placed it on his right hand. He then looked up to Kurenai for further instructions. Now use your chakra to lift the kunai on your hand as much as you can. Try to balance your chakra, said Kurenai, and took out her own kunai and showed Naruto how to do the exercise. Alright, all I need to do is channel my chakra in my hands in proper proportion, thought Naruto. He then started channeling a lot of chakra, but instead of getting the kunai to stand up, it started twitching wildly in Naruto's hands. You are channeling way too much chakra. Try to control your flow. Concentrate and feel the movement of your chakra in your hands, said Kurenai, and showed Naruto the exercise again. Alright, I have to reduce my chakra, thought Naruto. He then started channeling chakra in limited proportion to his hand. The kunai lifted an inch on his hands. Naruto was trying very hard to maintain the steady flow of chakra in his hands, but the amount of concentration and the weight of the kunai were very tough to balance, and as a result, after a few more moments he couldn't continue the exercise. Should I use the shadow clones to increase my training speed? Thought Naruto. Hey Kurenai, is there any other way to make this exercise a lot easier? Asked Naruto, even though he was knowing the answer he needed to hear Kurenai's answer. Well, there is only one technique that can help you, and that is the shadow clone jutsu, but that technique can be very dangerous as it drains your chakra quickly and you are not qualified to use it, said Kurenai sternly, making her point clear. Oh, is that so? Asked Naruto with a smirk and formed the hand sign. Kurenai's eyes widened on seeing the hand sign and shouted at Naruto to stop, but it was too late. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Immediately 10 Naruto clones stood around Kurenai with a smirk hidden behind their masks. Naruto, what the hell have you done? Yelled Kurenai angrily. Relax, I know this jutsu and I even know what it does. I can maintain my clones as I have more than enough chakra reserves, said Naruto calmly, unfazed by Kurenai's anger. Who taught you such dangerous jutsu? Asked Kurenai sharply. Well, Kakashi-Nisan, said Naruto, but was cut off when he felt a little killer intent coming from Kurenai. After our training I need to have a talk with Kakashi, said Kurenai furiously. Hey, don't get mad, let me explain, said Naruto. He then explained his entire condition to Kurenai and how it did not harm him. At first Kurenai didn't believe him and was asking him to dispel the clones immediately, but after a few more minutes of seeing the clones trying to perform the exercise and not seeing even a little bit strain on Naruto, concluded that Naruto must have been speaking the truth. I wonder what else Kakashi has taught Naruto, thought Kurenai. See, I told you it does not have any side effect on me, said Naruto with a smirk. What else has Kakashi taught you? I hope it isn't very dangerous, or else it won't end well for a certain Ika Ika fan, said Kurenai with a dark aura tone. Man, she sure is protective, thought Naruto, but also smiled a little for seeing Kurenai's affection for him. Oh, nothing much, just this and that, said Naruto in an amused tone. Smartass are we? Well, for that you will practice this exercise with kunai in both of your hands at the same time, said Kurenai in a sadistic tone. What? Yelled Naruto. A few hours later, Naruto and Kurenai were sitting in the shade of a nearby tree enjoying the peaceful atmosphere. Naruto seemed to be exhausted and was resting in order to regain his strength. The chakra control exercise was extremely difficult for him. Even with the help of his clones he was not able to make the kunai stand up properly in his hands. Kurenai had been true to her words and had indeed made him practice with kunai in both hands. Naruto wondered that whether she possessed a little sadistic habits like Anko, but decided to not say his opinion to Kurenai, fearing her wrath. Naruto started thinking on whether what Danzo said to him was true or not. If it was true, why did his parents did this to him, knowing how a life of a Jinchuriki is? What made them do this? Why did both of them had to die and leave him alone? So many questions were running across his mind with no answer in sight. Kurenai seemed to recognize Naruto's sad mood and decided to lighten his mood. She then took out a small ration bar and handed it to Naruto. A ration bar? Asked Naruto curiously. It'll help you increase your energy and replenish your stamina a little, said Kurenai with smile. Arigato Kurenai, said Naruto with his own smile. What are friends for? Said Kurenai happily. You are a good friend, Kurenai. I am grateful to you for helping me, said Naruto. You're welcome. If you don't mind me asking, what is troubling you? Asked Kurenai curiously. Am I that easy to read? Sighed Naruto. I guess, or I am just awesome, joked Kurenai. Naruto laughed on hearing this. He felt quite happy that he was able to reduce his grief with Kurenai's help. The exercise is quite difficult. Even with my clones, I am having trouble controlling my chakra, said Naruto frustratingly. You are doing better than I expected. I believe with the help of your clones you will be able to master the exercise in maybe 2 months. Have a little faith in yourself, said Kurenai proudly. She was quite amazed at the rate Naruto was learning. He would become a skilled genjutsu specialist in a few years. Thanks, Kurenai, said Naruto. What is your dream, Naruto? Asked Kurenai suddenly. Naruto was surprised a little on hearing being asked such a question. My dream is to bring peace to this world, said Naruto sadly. Peace? Asked Kurenai surprisingly. A world where parents don't die, where people don't hate each other, where children can live happily with their family, said Naruto sadly. He started to feel a lot more lonelier. Kurenai also got a little sad on hearing the meaning in Naruto's words and the pain behind it. She got closer to Naruto and hugged him tightly. Naruto stiffened a little on the sudden contact, but after a few moments relaxed and hugged Kurenai tightly. They held on to each other for a few minutes. Thank you, Kurenai, said Naruto gratefully. I'm always there for you, Naruto, said Kurenai sincerely. I would do anything to achieve my dream, even if it means sacrificing myself, said Naruto with determination. Don't say such things. You'll achieve your dream and don't even think about dying. I will kick you in the balls and bring you back from the dead, joked Kurenai, but also gave a little stern gaze to Naruto, indicating that she was meant what she said. Naruto felt a lot more happy. He felt comfortable in Kurenai's company. It was as if he was at peace when he was with her. Is this what it means to understand a person? Thought Naruto. So how's it like living with Kakashi? Asked Kurenai curiously. Well, Nissan is a carefree guy. He lets me do most of the things I want and doesn't bother me much. He likes to train me and reads his book every time. I wonder why he is so hooked. Sure, it's a good book, said Naruto, but stopped when he felt a rise in the temperature around him. He saw Kurenai with a dark aura surrounding her. Naruto wondered what had he done that pissed off Kurenai. You think Ika Ika is a good book? Asked Kurenai menacingly, ready to teach Naruto a lesson if the answer was wrong. No, I mean from the sales of the book in the markets, said Naruto quickly. Very well, if I ever find you reading that smut I'll kill you, said Kurenai sternly. Sure, man, you sure are scary like Anko, mumbled Naruto. Anko? Asked a surprised Kurenai. Yeah, she is one of my best friends. You can say she is like family to me, like a big sister. Why do you know her? Asked Naruto. Yeah, she is my best friend. But she never told me anything about you, said Kurenai. Naruto just shrugged his shoulders indicating that he couldn't say what Anko would do. Well, it's getting late and I have to visit Konohamaru, said Naruto and got up. He then offered his hand to Kurenai and made her get up. Hokage-sama's grandson? Asked Kurenai curiously. Yeah, he's like my annoying little brother, joked Naruto. It seems you are quite popular in the Sarutobi clan, said Kurani with a smirk. Hee hee, I try my best, joked Naruto. Keep practicing your chakra control exercise and meet me tomorrow here at the same time and don't be late, said Kurenai sternly. I'll be on time, I promise, said Naruto sincerely. Well, I've got to visit Hokage-sama. I'll see you tomorrow, Naruto, said Kurenai and disappeared with a shushin. See ya, Kurenai, said Naruto and disappeared in his own shunshin. Hokage Tower. Hiruzen Sarutobi was having a regular day at the office, assigning missions, looking over reports, and many other things. But today an interesting thing had happened. Kurenai Yuhi was right now standing in his office giving him a report of her mission and she seemed to be very happy. So how's his progress? Asked Hiruzen curiously. He is having difficulty controlling his chakra, but from what I have seen he will be able to master it in a few weeks. Though I was surprised he is able to use Kage Bunshin, said Kurenai. He is indeed very special, said Hiruzen with a smile. Hokage-sama, I want to ask a question, asked Kurenai hesitatingly. Go ahead, said Hiruzen flatly. Why did you assign me the mission of teaching Naruto Genjutsu? Asked Kurenai curiously. After you told me how he helped you yesterday and was interested in Genjutsu, I thought you were the best for teaching him. Kakashi had tried to teach him, but Genjutsu is not his specialty, so you were the best option I had, and it was very honest of you to tell me your intentions before you started training Naruto, said Hiruzen proudly. I did my duty, Hokage-sama. He is only an academy student and so it was my duty to ask for your permission to train him, said Kurenai honestly. That is why I trust you, Kurenai. You are a great shinobi of this village and have made great sacrifice for it. Also, I wanted you to spend some time away from missions, so I assigned you this duty in order to relieve your stress and enjoy your life a little, said Hiruzen with a kind smile. I am very grateful to you for showing me such generosity even though I do not deserve it, said Kurenai a little dejectedly. Nonsense. You are a nice person, Kurenai, who just had some bad incidents in her life. So, what's your opinion of Naruto? Asked Hiruzen, trying to lighten Kurenai's mood. He is a very nice person, Hokage-sama. He is kind, caring and even funny at times, but the most interesting thing is that he is way mature than people his age, said Kurenai with a wide smile. She had taken quite a liking to Naruto. It is because of the pain he suffered that he is like this. While growing up, Naruto had to face a lot of disdain from the people of this village. As a result, he had to increase his analytical ability to judge people so he could understand them, explained Hiruzen. That is very true, Hokage-sama, said Kurenai with pity. Don't give him that look, Kurenai. Naruto does not like when someone pities him. He always tries to overcome obstacles, and his love for the village and those close to him is the greatest I have ever seen in a person after the Shodai Hokage. It would be better if I show you Naruto's love for his precious people, said Hiruzen kindly and took out his crystal ball. What do you want to show me? Asked Kurenai curiously. It's almost time. He must be at the gates by now, thought Hiruzen and gestured Kurenai to look in the crystal ball. With Naruto. Naruto had arrived at the Sarutobi's clan compound in order to meet Konohamaru. This was one of the few clans in Konoha that accepted him as a person and not as the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi. Most of the clan members of the Sarutobi clan were kind to Naruto even after so many of their clan had died because of the Kyuubi during its attack few years ago. The guards at the gates gave a smile to Naruto, which he returned as well. The Sarutobi clan compound was a huge area. It covered a big lawn which had a small lake in it. There were many houses of various shapes and sizes in the compound, all of which surrounding a grand 3-story mansion. This mansion was of the Hokage. It had the best furniture in Konoha and was equipped with all the facilities. Only Hiruzen and his family stayed in his mansion. "I'm home," said Naruto happily and opened the door of the mansion. No sooner than a few seconds Konohamaru came running across the hall with a big smile on his face. "Naruto Nichan!" yelled Konohamaru happily and jumped on Naruto. Naruto was taken back by the sudden weight and fell on the ground with Konohamaru on top of him. At first both of them stared at each other but soon started laughing loudly. "Welcome home, Naruto," said a woman warmly. This woman was Amiko, Konohamaru's mother. She had jet black hair that reached up to her shoulders and had a fair-skinned body. She was a very beautiful woman who wore a simple dark purple blouse with a red plum skirt and a light yellow apron over it. "It's good to be home, Amiko Oba-chan," said Naruto with a smile. "Naruto, what have I told you to call me?" asked Amiko with mock anger. "Sorry, Ka-chan," said Naruto sheepishly. Amiko loved Naruto like her own son. After the death of her husband during a mission, she was left to raise Konohamaru by her own. She faced a lot of difficulty in raising Konohamaru despite having the support of Hiruzen and her clan. She could never fulfill the role of a father in Konohamaru's life, but after Naruto came in their lives, Konohamaru never missed his father as often as he did before. Konohamaru loved Naruto like his own elder brother, and Naruto loved Konohamaru even more than anyone she knew. "Let's go outside and play together, Naruto Nichan," said Konohamaru enthusiastically. "Stop that, Konohamaru-chan. Naruto must be hungry. You can play after he eats something," said Amiko sternly. Konohamaru became sad after hearing his mother and had a dejected look on his face. Naruto couldn't look at Konohamaru's such face. Naruto loved Konohamaru very much and always did something to make him happy, so he decided to do it this time too even though he was hungry. "It's okay. I can eat later, besides I'm not much hungry," lied Naruto with a smile. "Hee, let's go, Naruto Nichan," said Konohamaru and dragged Naruto away to the training grounds of the clan. "Those two," thought Amiko with a warm smile. Naruto and Konohamaru arrived at the training ground. It had all the things necessary for a shinobi to train. It had various dummy posts, a small armory, a dojo and lot of targets for practicing kunai and shuriken training. "So what should we play?" asked Naruto curiously. "Let's play Ninja, Naruto Nichan," said Konohamaru happily. Naruto chuckled on hearing that when he was Konohamaru's age he too liked playing ninja with his friends and was one of his favorite games. He agreed to play the game readily. They both played for half an hour until Konohamaru stopped playing and took Naruto to the training grounds. "Hey Nichan, can you show me some cool jutsu, please?" begged Konohamaru with his puppy eyes. "Damn, I can't show him any ninjutsu or else he'll never stop until I teach him." What to do? Thought Naruto, and then suddenly an idea hit him. "I'll show you my shurikenjutsu," said Naruto happily. He was the best at shurikenjutsu even though he didn't show it to everyone. There were 11 targets in the training area, all of these targets set in 11 different directions on 11 different trees. It would be easy to hit all of them. Let's see if I can do that at the same time, thought Naruto jovially. Konohamaru was carefully watching what Naruto was going to do. After the death of his father, his life had become lonely. He had no siblings, and even though he had his mother and Gigi, he still felt alone. But everything had changed after Naruto came in his life. He was the kind and gentle older brother that Konohamaru always wanted. Naruto was the best in whatever he did, and no matter what happened he was always there for Konohamaru. Naruto was Konohamaru's ideal and he wanted to surpass him. Naruto took out 11 shuriken from his pouch and looked at his targets briefly. He then leapt high in the air and released all the 11 shuriken at the same time. The projectiles rushed towards their targets with great speed, and what happened next shocked Konohamaru. All of the 11 targets were hit in the center by the shuriken, and at the same time, even the one that was behind Naruto was hit perfectly. How did he do it? Thought Konohamaru, amazed by the display. I hope that's good enough, said Naruto sheepishly. Good enough. You freaking nailed every target, even the one in the back, yelled Konohamaru. Hee hee. Sorry about that, said Naruto with a small chuckle. Sometimes he just behaved a little clumsily. Nichin, can you please teach me this shuriken jutsu? Asked Konohamaru pleadingly. It'll have to wait, I have important training tomorrow. I must prepare, said Naruto sadly. He had joined the route and from tomorrow his training was going to begin. Also Konohamaru was a bit too young to learn shurikenjutsu. You're such a big fat liar, said Konohamaru with a cute pout on his face. I started training at his age too, but I still want him to have a childhood and not just spend it in training, thought Naruto. Sorry about that, Konohamaru. We'll do it some other time, okay? Asked Naruto with a small sheepish smile. How can I even become Hokage if I cannot even surpass you? I'm stupid and I'm not even a good ninja and yelled Konohamaru. Tick. Naruto poked Konohamaru's forehead. You can become Hokage, said Naruto firmly. Konohamaru's eyes snapped and he looked at Naruto curiously. I believe in you, said Naruto with a warm smile. Konohamaru couldn't believe what he just heard. His Jiji had told him playfully that he could become Hokage, but no one had ever truly said to him that they truly believed that he would become the Hokage except Naruto. You believe in me? Asked a shocked Konohamaru. I wouldn't be a good big brother if I cannot even believe in my precious Otudo, nay? Asked Naruto with a smile. You would become a great Hokage, thought Naruto warmly. Konohamaru hugged Naruto tightly. He had finally found someone who truly believed in his dreams. He was accepted by his big brother and there was nothing else in life that could have pleased Konohamaru more. Well, it's getting late. We should go. We wouldn't want Ka-chan to become angry, do we? Asked Naruto playfully. No, Nichin. She is quite scary when she is angry, said Konohamaru with a little fear. Naruto chuckled a little and ruffled Konohamaru's hair, earning a pout from the boy. He then picked up Konohamaru and placed him on his back and started walking towards the home to eat some snacks and spend time with Amiko. Nichin, that was so much fun. Will you play with me again sometime? Asked Konohamaru hopefully. Sure, but I'm going to become a genin soon and you'll start attending the Ninja Academy next year, so we aren't going to have much free time for ourselves anymore, said Naruto calmly. That's okay as long as you can still spend time with me once in a while, and you just wait, Nichin, I'll surpass you very soon, said Konohamaru confidently. You are my brother Konohamaru. I'll always be there for you even if it is just as an obstacle for you to overcome, said Naruto deeply. Konohamaru started to have few tears in his eyes. He did not know Naruto loved him so much. Even if you do hate me, I'll always protect you. That's what big brothers are for, said Naruto happily. I love you, Nichin, said Konohamaru with tears in his eyes and hugged Naruto closely. I love you too, said Naruto with a true smile and started walking towards the house. Neither he nor Konohamaru had noticed that their conversation had been watched by 3 individuals.